Hey everyone, I got a pretty cool piece of Call of Duty history today. I'm going to be giving you a brief tour of the scrapped Blackout 2 map running on a pre-alpha build of Black Ops Cold War. It's got some cool stuff in it, and it's kind of interesting to think about what could have been, along with comparing it with Warzone. So I hope you enjoy this video, and my apologies for any crappy edits, as I'm not a YouTuber, but I did want to share this awesome piece of history with you. Just a disclaimer before we start this, I did not actually play Cold War for most of its life cycle, so there may be some inaccuracies and discrepancies when I describe some of the POIs that you'll see in this Blackout map, especially when they are the exact copies of some of the Fireteam maps that you see in multiplayer, so do keep that in mind if you hear me say something incorrectly. So here's a screenshot of the full map. Right away, you'll notice some names that are in reference to multiplayer maps that you probably have already played. There's also some names that you probably have never seen before, along with some unmarked POIs with no names whatsoever. So we're going to start at the bottom and work our way up. So let's go ahead and start with Sanatorium. So right off the bat, it looks pretty similar to how this map is in the final game. But one thing you'll begin to notice is that there's weapon drops on the floor, along with ammo types that you can pick up on the floor. We also have lethals, additional ammo types, more weapons, and attachments that you would have had to pick up and manually put onto your weapon like you had to in Blackout 1. Similarly, we have the inventory menu, which looks like may have been a placeholder, as this looks awfully familiar to Black Ops 4. As you can see, it gives you the option to equip the weapons and their weapon attachments. As we further explore, we see some tactical equipment. We see armors that seem to have been tiered, as we just picked up a level 2. We have more attachments, along with perks that have placeholder icons. Let's go ahead and take another quick look at the inventory menu now that it's a little more populated. You can see the perks on the left hand side, armor and equipment on the lower left hand side as well, ammo on the top left, and the actual weapons on the right. Before we leave Sanatorium, let's go ahead and do a quick Skyline View where you can see some of the other POIs off in the distance. So we're now at the ski slopes POI. And as you can tell, this is very similar to the Alpine map on Outbreak. I have a hard time figuring out what the differences are since it's been a minute since I've played Outbreak, but I'm sure there are some differences that others may be able to notice. And if there are some differences that you notice, feel free to leave a comment. As you can see again, layout is very, very similar. We're going to go ahead and take this up. It is a little glitchy. Now that we're on it, we're going to make our way up to the top, where we will be heading to the next POI, which is the weather station. So now that we're at Weather Station, this is where things get interesting. Because if you notice, we are in a pretty iconic Black Ops 1 map right now, which is Summit. And as you can tell, this is pretty detailed and polished, and basically complete compared to other places on this map. It kind of makes me wonder why they didn't try to make this into a 6v6 later into some of the seasons of Cold War, because the level of detail that I see in this POI here compared to some of the other POIs in this map. Tells me that they had put a lot of effort into getting this complete, almost as if they were planning to make this a multiplayer map. As you would expect, they made some additions to make this a better experience for Blackout, such as these ladders that would have given you high ground on this middle lane. They also added these watchtowers that would have given you high ground for the right lanes. Before we leave the snowy hills, let's go ahead and do a skyline view. From the top of these hills, you can see Sanatorium, Ruka City, Golova, and the mines. So we're now here at Zoo, and Zoo basically seems to be pretty one-to-one to how it is in multiplayer. So I'm just going to be doing some quick jump cuts as we walk around the map. So we're now here in Ruka City, which is the same name as the Outbreak map, but as you can tell, this looks nothing like that map in Outbreak. And one thing I'm starting to notice is that this railroad that is also in Zoo and Sanatorium is here as well, which makes me wonder if they were planning to have some kind of railroad or train system that would have been roaming around the entire map. You can see Ruka had some pretty high buildings, and this would probably have been the main place where you would try to get high ground in some later circles. So you can see there are several multi-story buildings, 3, 4, 5 stories. It's par for the course with all of these Warzone maps that have the city-like POI. And one cool thing that is also here is this Space Needle looking building that has elevators. Odds are you probably would have been able to go to the top of that Space Needle. So next we have Battery. This is honestly a pretty boring POI. It's pretty barren and doesn't have much going on. So I'm just going to go ahead and do some quick jump cuts around this area as well. So we're now here in Golova, and again, I apologize if I have no idea what the hell I'm talking about. I haven't played Outbreak or Fireteam in a hot minute. I could have sworn that I haven't seen this angel statue in the final build of Golova, but if you've seen it, definitely let me know. Aside from that, though, it looks pretty much the same to how it is on the final build. So I'll be just walking around here for a little bit just for you to get some quick glimpses of some of the buildings in the pre-alpha build of this POI. So we're going to take a quick pit stop to this unmarked POI, because although it is unmarked, this is actually Dugga or Dugga from Outbreak. Not sure if this was unnamed due to just how early this build is, or whether they were planning to keep it unnamed for the final build of Blackout 2. Next up, we're at the mines. We're going to start outside of its perimeter very quick so you can see some of these buildings just chilling on top of the hills. Now we're just going to speed up very quick so we can get to the mines. And here's a quick overview of how the mines would look like. It looks pretty bare bones and early. I'm almost sure that they were going to add more stuff down below. We're going to go ahead and speed up and make our way up this excavator as well. This would have been an interesting place to kind of snipe. Also, right outside these mines, we have these brick buildings that we're just going to briefly walk through. We're going to take another pit stop to another unmarked POI. This one's pretty big, so I'm almost sure they were going to name it something at some point. As you can see, there's a huge body of water, kind of like a river or a swampy area kind of thing. We're going to go ahead and speed up and swim over towards the center of it because there is something kind of weird going on. For whatever reason, the center of this area, in the middle of this river, there is a church. So one last place we're going to visit is this marked POI in the center of the map. Originally, I didn't think much of it, and I thought it was just a generic building, but you're going to notice something pretty quickly once you get inside. It looks like this was actually Stadium from Black Ops 1. And again, this goes back down to the Summit argument, where we have a POI that's really detailed, almost looks featured complete, and it makes you wonder why they didn't use it as a 6v6. So that's all I got for you guys today. Sorry again for not being super knowledgeable on Cold War. I wish I would have been able to notice the differences a little better. But hopefully you got a better grasp of how Blackout 2 was at the time that they stopped development, which looks like it may have been June of 2020. If you want to see some more videos, something a little more detailed or in-depth, definitely let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to revisit this again. Just going to go ahead and get the feel for the room and see if Activision copyright claims this or not. Have a great day.